Good morning, good evening, good afternoon. I am the Gentleman. This is the Gentleman's Pixel Club, and today we are using the MiSTer FPGA to play a game on the ZX Spectrum. The game of today's choice is The Pyramid. I own The Pyramid, and this came by Fantasy Software. In days of old, if you wanted to play games on a ZX Spectrum, you used a cassette like one of these, and this is the actual cassette for the game. To load it in, you would have used one of these. That is a data recorder. Something of old, something of legends that old people like myself had to use, and I show these for a couple of reasons. One, to show you that I'm not just here to make YouTube chip videos, although that's what you see. I am a true retro collector. I generally own the stuff that I enjoy playing. Anyway, this is The Pyramid by Bob Hamilton for Fantasy Software. Days of old, we had many joysticks controlling the blue screen that you just saw. It gave so many options that were there. And we're entering the pyramid right now, having navigated the first screen by simply pushing fire. You control this little chap in a bubble, and his name is Ziggy. And what he's got to do is he's got to collect gems, and the gems will open up the doors on the pyramid by dropping them through. In his way are trash cans, and looking at the screen at the moment, you have an advert on the left hand side that will cycle as the game goes through to show you how this used to be advertised to us. With enough gems, you drop them through, the colours of the door change, and eventually you can go through it. This is the first time that I've played this in a fair while, and I just have to get used to the controls, used to what I want to be doing here, used to where I'm dropping the gems, and you see I've dropped it in, the door has opened, and I can move on to the next level. Enemies are different. I believe there's 60 different enemies in this game, and they seem to get harder and harder as you progress, and the game advert says that these are beautifully animated, and yes, they absolutely are. This is a world before internet. This is a world before you had an easy way to sell your wares, and by wares not stolen wares, but in companies selling their goods. And all they had to do was advertise in a magazine, and they had to do their absolutely best to do the best advert possible. You saw me collect a gem, and I've been unable to drop it through the door because an enemy touched me. And when an enemy touches you, you then lose that ability, you lose the gem. So I'm collecting the gem that will eventually allow me to pick me up if it hadn't have landed on an enemy, and I could have flown across and dropped it through the door. The number on the bottom left hand side of the screen tells you how many enemies you need to kill before the next gem. So there's 9 left before another gem. I've got that gem. I can drop it through like you see there. I don't know whether I managed to do it in time, but we will see. There's another gem coming, and I missed that one as it hit an alien. And as I say, kill 10 aliens, at least on this particular level, collect a gem, don't get touched by another alien, drop it through the door at the bottom to change the colour to exit that level. So I'm blue, which is showing that I've got the gem. I dropped it, it hit another alien, and the sequence goes on and on. The P, where I'm on P052 at the moment, is the amount of power that I have. When that runs out, it's going to be game over for me. So I managed to drop it through, drop down to the next level, so we are in chamber 3 at the moment. And look at all those possible chambers that I can go to. Your power starts again, and when I hit this level, I thought, hell, this is easy. All they do is they go left and right. How hard can it be? It's with a little bit of gameplay that you notice that these enemies actually move faster than you, and it's a bit sluggish to control Ziggy, who's in his little bubble there. I've managed to change the colour of that door by dropping a gem through, but when you get hit, you momentarily pause. It's not as if you can quickly whip away from it. It doesn't matter how good your reflexes are, there is a slight delay. And with these enemies, when you hit the gem like that, that slows you down. And I've flown above the door, and when you fly above the door, what you just saw was me automatically drop it, and it landed on another enemy. So simple as this game looks, the doors at the bottom, they're actually a vertical. When you cross that path, if you're carrying a gem, no matter what part of the screen you are automatically going to drop it, and if there's enemies in the way, you've got all kinds of trouble. Before we flipped onto this screen, I mentioned that you had P, which is your power. that goes down every time you touch an enemy until you get 0, and then it's game over. You've then got your score, and that score counts down, and it starts high and it gets lower, and as it counts down, the amount of points that you have when you exit the level, whatever that score is, that then gets added onto your true points. So, you know, this is just the points that you have on the level. This is the points that you have on the session. And if I can clear the level, get through this level, those points will simply be added to what I've got. So you can see me slowing down, using the gem, trying to get the gem, unable to do this, fighting these bloody sci-fi thimble things as they move to the left and right. And I had truly forgotten how hard this simple looking game was. And you know, it's a credit to the Bob Hamilton here who designed this game, how you can have so much gameplay fun in this. What you're not seeing is the amount of time and effort that I put into this. You know, I finished doing this recording, I finished this session, I did another game that I want to record, so I'm basically doing 2 videos today, and I've died here at this moment. And then I went back and played a game. It was so good. And look at my score, 16,000, so that's 2 lots of 8,000 thereabouts that I had that got me to the end of the game. I've learned though that I don't want to be in this level, so I'm starting again, and this is the second round through we're going to play this, and we're only having this playthrough as well, and I want to go down the other side of the pyramid to see whether there's any differences and see what other monsters we have. So we exited with 9,000 on the clock, you've got 9,000 on the bottom there, and this time we have got ants, vertical flying ant type bees things. Again, beautiful colours. You didn't have many colours on the Spectrum, but you know, they really are crisp, they really are clear. As a Spectrum owner, I always wanted a Commodore 64 for a couple of the games. You know, I was always jealous on the better graphics. And one thing I never noticed in all the years of wanting one of these, was the quality of the graphics. Someone made a comment in later years that the graphics were always muddy looking, they were always sort of a browny red type things colour, and I had never noticed this till it was pointed out. And regardless of the Spectrum has colour clash that you see here, you know, it really does have nice sharp graphics when they want to make an effort and when they want to try. And Bob Hamilton, who created this game, absolutely did. But this wasn't the best of his work. He created a sequel to this. He created a few games, but he created a sequel to this, which was Doomsday Castle. And Doomsday Castle we're not going to play here today, but it was a direct sequel. We may do that sometime. And the sequel to Doomsday Castle was Backpacker's Guide to the Universe. And that was the first game that I ever owned on the ZX Spectrum that I actually completed a map for, where I managed to map all the levels of it, all the cabins of it. You know, I was so proud of myself. It plays a lot different from this game, and you know, we've got a new set of monsters here, these little spiky wheels that go from left to right. I'm not particularly enjoying the left to right monsters as I didn't on the other level, but I'm going to do my best to get through this. But the Backpacker's Guide to the Universe was a great game. You had 2 sides to the cassette, and the cassette that I showed you can have different things on either side of it, and in that case it had the main game on the first side, and on the other side was basically a guide, and it listed all the monsters in this game, that you had like this encyclopedia that you could go through. Brilliant game. And you know, it was sold as the Backpacker's Guide to the Universe Part 1. Unfortunately, times move on, and we never got a part 2 to that, which is a real shame, because I really would have bought that. I would have loved it, and I do own that game as well, and it's almost in mint condition, which makes me really happy. This game here did have a part 2, which is Doomsday Castle. We are nowhere near part 2 at the moment, because we are trying to get through this level. We've got one more alien to kill, then the gem falls, so we're going to capture that and not get it, and we know you've got it because you turn blue. Currently, I'm just fighting all these baddies, trying to find a way to get a gem and get through. And when they're going from left to right like this, you know, you think it's easy, it looks easy, it's not bloody easy at all. You know, this is an absolute have another go type of game. You know, I played this after doing the second video that I had recorded. I went back to play some more of this that isn't recorded, and it really is addictive. And this is what amazes me about these old retro games, these old computer games. You know, we have the new games that are great big cinematic experiences where you have, you know, endless animations, endless cutscenes, a little bit of gameplay where you run around, shoot things, that kind of thing, and then you go back to the cutscenes. Very pretty, very beautiful to have a look at, but they do not have the let's have one more go. So I've got about 24,000 points now. The count has started at 9,999, and if I can get through this level, it will add whatever the end counter is. And on the right hand side that we've not spoken about, but you could have figured it out for yourselves, and you would have done, would be LO4, which means I'm on level 4. This level reminded me of a DVD player. Those of you that have owned a DVD player, they have a screensaver, and the screensaver is like this little bouncing block that you have on it. And while playing this game, I thought, hell, this is like those little bouncing blocks you've got, but way too many of them to be fair, to be easy, to even be good to you. And it's not as hard as it looks. You know, I'm obviously at 50% health here. You know, I've still got a way to go with the doors, but I'm not hating this much as I hated the level before. Gameplay, as I'm playing this at the moment, you know, I am, in my mind, I think I'm going to complete this level. We'll see whether I complete this level or not, but I absolutely think I do. You know, I wasn't struggling with this, even though my power has now got down to 25%. I was finding it a bit easier to play because they're a bit easier to try and keep an eye on where the enemies are in that movement pattern, but they're absolutely slaughtering me, you know, down to 10% now. Probably the next hit is going to be game over for me. So trying to get the AO4 down to A00 so I get another gem, and let's see whether we can do this. So collect the gem, come on, get the gem, and the gem killed me, so it takes life. So I've just noticed there that you need to actually probably wait for it to change colour, but I've scored 25,000 on the pyramid. I'm the Gentleman, this is the Gentleman's Pixel Club. Hope you've enjoyed the game. Goodbye.